Hi, I'm Sean Newman and I've been in the estate agency industry for over 30 years. And I'm really excited to bring this new show where I interview some of the top most successful estate agents in the UK. Some are earning 10, 20, 30,000 pound a month. Some are earning 40, 50, even 100,000 pound a month in personal commission on a self-employed model. These agents will be sharing their story and their journey on how they became an estate agent, the success they've had, and sharing their secrets on how they did it. We are seeing the biggest ever seismic change in the estate agency industry, with more and more people becoming self-employed estate agents. This is a fantastic opportunity, not only to earn a life-changing amount of money, but to raise the standards of estate agency in the UK. With these interviews, hopefully these interviews will inspire you and encourage you and give you some useful tips and advice on your estate agency journey. I hope you enjoy the next episode and I look forward to seeing you soon. Hi, welcome to this episode. Today I'm joined by Matt Odell. He's going to share his journey of going from a lettings agent into sales and then going to a self-employed partner agent. He's got a great story. I'm sure you'll find it interesting. I hope you enjoy this episode. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let's start by telling us about your journey into estate agency. Where did it all start?
Well, it started back in 2012, fresh out of school. I'd just done my first year of sixth form and it went okay, but I didn't really fancy the second year. My grades had gone all right, but I just didn't enjoy it. Yeah. Wanted to do something a bit more personal, a bit more practical, a bit more me. So the day I got my results, I came into town, I saw a sign in the window of one of the local estate agents and I thought, what's the worst that can happen? I'll go and put my CV in, and by the end of the week, I had a job.
Brilliant. And what was it that appealed to you about estate agency?
Well, my mum had done it for about a year and a half, about 5 years prior. And the way she always talked about it, it was always something different every day. You're going out meeting people, talking to people, learning about what they do and what they say, and everyone's got a different story. And I'm quite nosy. I like listening to people and what they've got to say. So I just thought, well, yeah, let's give this a go and see what happens.
Brilliant. And what was it like to start with?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really like that to start with. Basically, I was in the lettings team and I was the junior lettings negotiator, and my job at that point was to do everything that no one else wanted to do. So I'd go and open the doors and show people around, but I'd then do all the inspections and deal with all the maintenance and deal with this and deal with that and deal with the other. And it wasn't really what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
But then I guess when you're the junior, it never is. You have to earn your stripes almost.
Yeah, you got to start at the bottom and work your way up. And so what was the next step for you?
So I did 18 months with that company, and then a big corporate came in and offered me a chance to come and work with them in their new office in Rugby with their lettings team. So me and another Newman's colleague went and joined them, and we did just shy of a year there each between us. And that was actually, wasn't for me again, but actually what it gave me was structure. They had so many training courses and it allowed me to build a lot on my knowledge base and my experience. And by this point, I'm not quite 20 years old yet either. So I've done 2 companies in 2.5 years and learned a very corporate way of doing things, but also learned a very independent way of doing things. So I got to see 2 totally different sides of the coin very early on. And by that point, I realized that there's definitely benefit to the structure that the corporate side of things brings, but actually did not like the hierarchy.
Right. Okay. So tell us, at some point, obviously you decided you didn't want to be there. And I mean, what was your reason for wanting to look at something new? What?
Yeah, well, again, but very much like when I joined that first company, or the second company rather, I got approached. So there was a sales company in Coventry that offered me the chance to go and do sales, and lettings had been fine, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do forever. I'll be honest, it didn't exactly pay particularly well. It was fine when you're 18 and 19 years old, but it isn't what I wanted to be doing at 25 and 30. So the sales job came up and I thought, well, it's in Coventry, it's not far away from where I am at the moment, and it sounds like it'll be something a bit bigger and better. And it was. So I went and worked over in Coventry for a couple of years.
Great. And then what? I mean,
well, so 2 years with Allsop and Allsop in Coventry.
Yeah.
A lot of people will obviously know that they're a massive firm over in Dubai.
Yeah.
And so working with them in Coventry very much gave me a shoe in to go and see the world. So after my 2 years there, I went and moved to the land of sand.
Brilliant.
Over to Dubai.
And congratulations to sort of Lewis and Carl. They've done a fantastic job. They actually started working with me a long time ago. I think that's when they started their estate agency career. Really pleased for them to see the great success they've had. So
absolutely,
it's great to see and watch their progress. So so you went over to Dubai, and how did you find that? But obviously that would be on a probably a self-employed model.
Yeah, so that was very much a 50-50 commission split. If you sell houses, fantastic. If you don't, you don't, and you're sat there very much. Using your savings up very quickly. And as with all of these things, when you go into a position like that, you're not going to make money straight away. You have to graft from the second you arrive and really push. And it took me about 7 months to get paid, which was huge. Yeah. So you have to go out there with a big chunk of cash sat in the bank. Otherwise you're scraping around trying to find a couple of pennies to rub together. Yeah,
yeah. And then how long were you there for? And obviously you've come back at some point. What was the reason for coming back?
So I was there for nearly 2 years. So
that's good. By
this point I'd done sort of 4 years with Allsop and Allsop. I was very ingrained in the way that they were doing things. But 2 years in Dubai is a long time. And one thing that Carl said to me was that it's got a shelf life. Some people will be here forever, but not many people are. Most people do 2 years or they do 5 years maybe. But when I got to the end of my first visa, I was ready. I'd seen enough. All my friends had gone to university and either come home or gone and done their own thing. And by this point, I was 22, I guess, by the time I wanted to come home. So I kind of had my university experience almost.
Yeah. And so you came back.
Yep.
And then where did you go then?
So after that, I went back to Coventry. I went to work in their offices again for a couple of months, but it was only a few months and it hadn't been quite the same experience that I'd had when I worked in the Coventry office before. So an opportunity came up to go and work with another big local firm, Brian Holt, over in Coventry. Now, they'd obviously just not long since been bought out by Hart.
Yeah.
So independent, but with a lot of the corporate structure in place. But I was only there for 4 months.
Okay. What happened?
Well, nothing as such happened, but it was more... It was too corporate again. It was like I'd taken that step back and gone to work for the other corporate that I'd experienced sort of 7 years earlier.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me it wasn't what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I'd seen the over-the-top structure that had been put into place and it didn't work for me. It didn't give me the flexibility that I wanted.
Okay.
So then Newman's comes knocking.
Okay. So there's obviously a point where this self-employed model, you must have maybe been aware of it or you came across it. What were your initial thoughts or your concerns or worries? I mean, how did it all...
Yeah, I think with most people, the big number one concern is I haven't got a salary. I haven't got a baseline to work with. If I don't get paid, how am I going to pay the mortgage? How am I going to pay my phone bill even? How am I going to do anything?
Yeah.
And that was the big concern initially is, okay, well, what do I do? How do I fund myself for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months? Not knowing whether or not I'm going to have enough cash in the bank to sustain my lifestyle or even a lifestyle. It doesn't have to be the fancy one to start with. It can just be literally paying the phone bill and the Netflix subscription, just surviving.
Yeah.
So that was obviously the big concern, but I think having already been through something similar when I was over in Dubai, I kind of learned from that and knew that you did have to be a bit more, not spending so much and a bit more reserved in what you're doing and knowing that you had to just really knuckle down and get on with it.
I do see a lot of people living, they get their wages at the end of the month and they just blow it on cars, clothes, going out and, maybe... Some advice for anyone considering this model and this jump, if you like, is that perhaps put some of that paycheck aside each month and not spend it all, save it, invest it, and then it can be used for something like this? Because that is one of the big obstacles for a lot of people. You know, they're in an employed role, they're getting a salary. To go to a self-employed role and not maybe earn something for 4, 5, 6 months is definitely an issue. Obviously, there's ways of overcoming that, but one of them is to have some cash behind you, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best pieces of advice that I ever heard was, you know, pay yourself first before you then pay your bills. Yeah. So if you can do that, then actually you've got a bit of cash in the bank ready to go, and it gives you an idea of what you can actually achieve with your finances. So
I just wondered what you were considering this self-employed role. I guess I've got 2 questions really. What was it that appealed to you about it? And it's the flip side of that question is why did you want to leave that security or of a salaried position?
Yeah, I think the security of a £20,000 to £30,000 a year job is fine, but it's fine. I guess that was all it was ever going to be, and I always wanted more than to just survive and to just be fine.
Comfortable.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I was comfortable and I was doing absolutely fine. And I keep circling back to that word, but it was very much an average lifestyle. And I didn't want to just have an average lifestyle. Yeah. I think there was too much structure in what I wanted. And again, structure is a very good thing. It's important to have structure in your life, whether that be your work or your actual outside of work life. But I think it could be quite smothering. And one of the things that I liked about the self-employed situation is it's totally on me. If I want to be overly structured and plan my day down to every 10 minutes, then I can do that. If I do want to have a day off here or come in at 10 o'clock because I wanted to go and do this in the morning or that, or whatever I wanted to do, I can do that now.
Yeah. So you obviously weren't happy. There was obviously certain things you were comfortable probably, and maybe you were even could say you were happy, but there were certain things you wanted to see change and improve, and you looked at this model. What other feelings did you have or concerns did you have? Because there's probably a lot of people who are in a similar position. They're in that comfortable employed role, and they can probably relate to your concerns about money. But were there any other issues, any other concerns, or did you think, no, this is definitely the thing for me? How sure of you were you of this was the right route for you? Or was there any, I'm not sure?
There's always going to be that little niggling doubt of, am I good enough to do this? Can I make this work? And, I had to sort of check myself really, because I knew I was good enough. I've been doing it week in, week out for the last 8 years.
Right.
I knew I could do it, but when you have to back yourself 100%, I think a lot of people do take that sort of step back and go, oh, actually, am I good enough, or has it all just been given to me all these years?
Yeah.
And sometimes it has been given to you, and sometimes parts of it are given to you. And you do very quickly learn when you go into this self-employed role that actually you do have to do an awful lot more than maybe you would have had to have done when you were getting your £20,000 a year salary.
Yeah.
But it's way worth it.
Yeah. So you've got to have that belief in yourself.
Massively.
And that confidence as well, because it is a big step. And you're right. I think in the employed role, a lot of things are given to you, the appointments, you've got valuations or market appraisals to do. They're in your diary. You just have to go and do them. And then they say yes, and you go right on to the next one. Or if it's viewings, the viewings put in your diary, you're going on to the next one. When you're effectively running your own business, it's down to you to generate those valuations and market appraisals, which is often a skill that many agents haven't needed in the past. And maybe in the next episode, we can talk about what you do to generate those market appraisals or leads. But just finishing on with the journey. So obviously, let's fast forward a little bit now to now you've made that jump. Let's look at the first few months first of all. The first few months, what were they like? Were they easier or harder? Was it good? Was it bad?
It was everything.
Yeah,
it was all of the above. It was great to actually be able to go out there and deliver the pitch, the service, the whatever it wanted to be that I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be, this is the green folder that I take out and this is how we do things. It's actually, this is how I want to do things.
Yeah.
And if you don't buy into that, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not the right person for you.
Yeah.
But what I found was that actually the people that believed what I had to say, believed in me, and as a result, I had a fantastic experience with them, and they had a fantastic experience with me.
Yeah.
And 2.5, 3 years later, we're still giving that same service and that same belief, and I'm having a great time. Yeah.
So bring us up to speed now with what's life like. You've obviously made that jump. It was probably I don't know if it's fair to say roller coasters to start with, because normally it is. There's ups and downs. There are in life, in business, in general. There's always going to be disappointments when a sale falls through, or
it hurts so much more when there's no salary to kind of hold you back. But
I'm sure there's plenty of good times as well when you get the successes. So do you want to tell us what life's like at the moment then, and how things are for you in this role?
Life is a lot better, to be honest. Since I've been here, me and my other half have bought our first house together. Great. So we've done that, and
congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
That was a goal that you had. And part of the thing I like to see is help and see agents achieving their goals, and not just their income goals, which is obviously important, but, people say, I want to buy a house, or I want to buy a car, or I want this dream holiday for the family in Florida, or whatever it is. It's very rewarding for me. And that's what one of the first questions I ask people is, what are your goals? And I know one of your goals was to have that house, and to achieve that and tick that off the list is very, well, obviously great for you. But I am pleased for you as well.
You.
So
thank you.
And how is the house? Because I know you've been
working hard on it.
You've had a bit more time to be able to do that now as well.
Well, that's it. And that was the next thing I was going to say, is actually because of the position that I'm in here now, where I've got everything running the way I want it to run, is actually I could spend not quite every day off, but I could just pop out and do an appointment here and do an appointment there, and then go back to digging the bricks out of the garden and peeling the wallpaper and changing the carpets and all the things that we've been doing in the last few months since we've moved in. Yeah. So it's allowed me to have the flexibility to do life as well as work.
Yeah. And getting that balance right is so important, isn't it? And so you're able to do things now without having to ask a manager for time off, without having to fill in a holiday request form. It's your business, you're running it how you want. You can work as hard as you want and work as long as you want, or you can say, no, I want to have tomorrow off to help get the new kitchen sorted.
And that's it. And I don't feel guilty for it either. Before, when we were really busy with things at previous companies, and you put that holiday request in, you think, I only want one day, but I feel guilty asking for it because I know there's all this other stuff going on. I don't feel guilty. Yeah. Now I can run my life and my business the way I want to do it. And everyone's got my mobile number, so if they desperately need me, they can still call me. I'm still going to answer the phone. Yeah. And I'm not just going to red button everyone. Yeah. So, I think it's just been such a nice way for me to be able to spend this first few months in my home being able to do things the way I want to do them.
Yeah, great. And how do you think your clients are as regard to sort of the service or the marketing, that you can give them now on this model compared to maybe when you were working at some of these other places as an employee? Or
well, like I said just a few minutes ago, I think people appreciate that what I can offer them is actually what I want to give them as well. And I don't think any part of the service that's offered now looks forced. It's very much a natural part of what we do, and it works well. And people seem to really buy into it. And the people that don't, that's fine. We don't work with them. They don't work with me. There's someone else that has a better fit for what they want. But the client gets very much a personal service. Like I say, everyone has my mobile number. Yeah. I don't remember the last time I actually used the office line. Yeah. I forget the number sometimes. Yeah. Everyone's got my personal mobile number, and they text me at whatever time at night. I mean, Stephanie isn't best pleased when it's 8:00 at night sometimes, but it's it is what it is. It's
but you've got that flexibility. Then there's, there are fors and against. The downside is, you could end up doing appointments in the evening or texting someone in the evening. But if it means that you're able to do stuff during the day,
exactly, it's all give and take. It's very much all give and take, and the flexibility.
And I guess you're in control of your diary. So if you don't want to book appointments in tomorrow, or you've got something that you want to do with Stephanie at 4:00 tomorrow afternoon, or the football's on, although you've got an appointment.
I know, yeah. I'm not impressed.
but that's, at least you do have that choice. So you've got flexibility on hours, which is great, and you're in control of your own diary. You're obviously in control of your own destiny. finances, how are they? How are you financially? And
much better than I was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Much better position now. We've just, this month we've exchanged on £40,000 worth of fees.
You've exchanged on £40,000 worth of fees.
Yeah.
And people can probably work out the percentage and what you would be earning from that. I mean, that's fantastic. And what do you think you'll exchange on so far this? What have you done so far this year, and what do you think you'll finish on?
Yeah, so I've done about £112,000 worth of fees so far this year, and the pipeline's still pretty healthy. And hopefully now that there's not so much of a deadline and solicitors can actually open up a bit more and be slightly less busy, I'd like to think that I can hit just over 200, maybe £220,000 worth of fees this year.
Brilliant. Well, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
And what a great income you're going to have, and that gives you freedom. I mean, I know money doesn't buy happiness, but it certainly makes a difference to everyone's life, doesn't it?
Definitely, yeah. It takes that bit of pressure off, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Like, and so you comfortably earn over £100,000 this year, and some people, there's people in the corporate world or a traditional estate agency, an employed role, probably earning 20, 30, 40. If they're managers or area managers, maybe 50 or 60. But that comes with a lot of responsibility. And actually, this is, for me, the important thing. You get drawn away from the fun part of the job. You end up doing forms and, interviewing people, disciplining people, monitoring, measuring, micromanaging people, looking at results, KPIs, all of that. And you don't do any of that, do you?
No, I get to go out and do the fun bit, like I thought I was going to do back in 2012 when I started, sitting down around a coffee table in someone's living room, having a cup of tea and learning about their life.
Yeah.
Like, what could be more fun? Yeah. I get to talk to people all day. That's my job, just talking to people.
It is the fun part of the job, putting houses on the market, selling them. So what do you enjoy about your role now? What's the best part of it?
Yeah, I think for me, I thoroughly enjoy, like I say, just meeting people. So the best bit for me is going out and sitting on someone's sofa and for the first time learning about everything that they do, their life, why we're in this position now, why I'm sat on their sofa, figuring out, how much the house is worth and what their plans are, and then putting a plan together to help them, A, to get that bit sorted, but B, to get to the next step of their life.
Yeah.
There's nothing more rewarding than handing the keys over to, your vendor sometimes when they're buying through you as well.
Yeah.
We've ticked off their dream home, hopefully, and helped them to make that huge step in their life. Yeah. There's nothing more rewarding than that.
It is very rewarding and very satisfying. And those clients often become friends. And I love it. It's the best part of the job. It's not even a job. If you're doing something you love doing, it's not even work, is it? But, and I'm really pleased for you. And it's been great to see the progression, that, what you did last year compared to what you're doing this year. And I've got no doubt next year will be even better. So congratulations and well done. And thanks for sharing your story. And hopefully it will... Other people will relate to that story and think, well, yeah, that's where I was, and look at maybe what I could be doing now. And I'm sure it will inspire other people as well, because
I hope so.
it is an inspiring story, and it just shows what's possible. And, would you say that you're any different to anyone else, or is this possible for anyone else to do who's in the estate agency today? Or
absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm no different to anyone else. I work hard. I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
But as long as you are good at what you do and you work hard and you do what you say you're going to do, then this is possible. Yeah. Of course this is possible.
Yeah. No, it sounds amazing. A lot of people think it's too good to be true. What's the catch? It's not all easy though.
No.
Tell us what are the downsides? What's the tough bit? What's the bit that, people could be or should be concerned about or worried about?
Yeah. Okay, so obviously, first and foremost, those first 6 months, they are hard.
Yeah.
Certainly when you are going out there and you've got absolutely nothing sort of pending, you haven't seen any valuations yet because it's day one. So you've got to go and find your valuations, which is tough sometimes because there's other people that are more established agencies locally or whatever your competition is. So you've got to find your way into the marketplace first and foremost. And then once you're in, You then have to make sure you get your pitch right, and you'll probably do a few evaluations at the start where you aren't quite 100% sure of what you're offering and what you can actually do until you realize you can do anything. And so you probably lose a few at the start. So it might take a month to really get going and actually get up and running properly. But then you've got to sell the house. And at the moment the market sells all the houses pretty much, and it's down to us to get the best price. But most houses are selling themselves at the moment. So that bit's not too difficult at the minute. But I know when I started 3 years ago, the market was a very different place. And you had to really work hard on every listing to really make sure that A, we found a buyer, and then B, we found the buyer that was going to give the best possible price. But then once you sold the house, you've then got conveyancing. And conveyancing is all fun and games. So it might be 6 months before you have listed the house, sold the house, gone through conveyancing, potentially had it fall through once and sold it again. And it's really painful if they do fall through in those first 6 months, because you're banking on getting paid in April and all of a sudden it's going to be June or July. So that's the one thing to really think about is to really make sure that you can sustain yourself to start with, and dealing with rejection as well.
So there is some short-term pain for the long-term gain, I guess. And so those 6 months first 6 months are really important. But even then, once you're through that, I guess it's not plain sailing. It's never going to be...
No, it's not plain sailing. And, ultimately, it all comes down to how you run your own business, really. Provided you are consistent. You do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. You do your prospecting all the time, and you make sure that you're building for the future always. Then, it's easier, but it's never easy. There's always someone trying to undercut your fee and trying to... promise your client something that they can't necessarily live up to. And it's about building the trust with your client. And if you can do that, then they'll tell you about these conversations that are being had, and you can help to guide them. Sometimes what they're being told is correct, and sometimes it's not. More often than not, it's not. So it just comes down to making sure that you build that level of trust with your client. But it isn't always easy.
No. I mean, I don't want to sound everything's all rosy all the time. I mean, it's hard work, it's commitment, dedication, and determination. But, if you follow the process, the results will follow, and anyone can do it if they've got the right attitude and determination. So, well, look, it's been a fascinating story, inspirational, really pleased for you and seeing your success. What I'd love you to do, if you're okay, if we could just do another episode talking about your success. How did you achieve it? It's great exchanging on £200,000 a year, but how did you do it? And if you're prepared to share some of those secrets in the next episode, that would be really good.
Oh, go on then, Sean.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like more information about becoming a self-employed estate agent, I will add a link in the description. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.